This is the best husband in the world. This is Daniel, also known as Pav Husband. And lately, he's put up a couple of videos about getting healthier. So what would it take for him to do just that? Get healthier.
Did you know that obesity is currently a pandemic? And statistics show that in the United States alone, by 2030, that means in the next 4 years, 50% of the adult population is going to be overweight and obese. So that means if we have 50% of the adults who are obese, that means we have obese parents. So especially if you're a dad, I understand that it's so easy to lose your health in the chaos of life, work, family, and everything else in between. The reason why I know is because I've helped so many dads transform their body within that process and the busyness of life. That's why in this video, I'm going to build out everything that Daniel needs in order to get healthy. And we're going to do that in 3 phases of health and fitness. Number 1 is weight loss. Number 2 is muscle. And number 3 is power. So if you're a dad and you want to get healthier, you want to get back in shape, or maybe you just want to be more energized for your kids and live a long life, then make sure to watch this video because you'll understand exactly what it takes for a busy dad to get back in shape.
So first, we have to gather as much data as possible because it's important to understand whenever a dad is going through something, or specifically Daniel, we need to understand what his daily lifestyle looks like, what he's doing. And honestly, just looking at this at first, it's not going to be as easy as I thought, right? Daniel's, most of his videos, if not all, he's cooking all the time. He's eating a ton of food, super busy. On top of that, he runs a restaurant alongside his wife. And he has a kid. And, if any dad out there knows that when you have a kid, especially very young one, it adds a lot of struggle and difficulty to everything. So looking at just these 3 things here, it tells me 1, time is going to be very, very limited. Working maybe more than 40 hours a week, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. Right? Number 2 is that if he ends up doing a lot of content around food, we're going to have to kind of knock out the consistency aspect, but we're going to have space for inconsistency, right? Or whether you're making a dish with fish or you're collaborating with other professionals or other people on YouTube and Instagram, you need to have that leeway to, eat the different types of foods. And last one, obviously the kid under 5, you're going to have a lack of sleep. There's no way around that, whether it's waking up consistently and maybe the schedule is really, really good, but really the having to put the kids' needs ahead of yours sometimes and, having to adapt. So those are the really key obstacles that's going to be here. On top of that, just as a last note, motivation, especially when you're really tired, maybe you're not as consistent with your food. Motivation is going to be one thing that you need to overcome in order to manage these things, especially if you want to get healthier and lose weight in this regard. Now, before I go through the plan, context here is really important. Dads like Daniel here who constantly fight for their family, who want to display, or they are embodiments of the discipline, hard work, and also values that we want in a society. These are the reasons why dads are so important. And that's why it's so important for dads like Daniel to be so healthy. It's so important to be fit and strong because the longer that you live, the longer these values that you embody get passed down. And also the more that all of your content, I'm sure all of these food content that is on Daniel's page here, it continues to inspire other people.
For any dad, if you want to get healthier, the first thing that you have to work on is losing fat. Now, there's a big difference. We don't just want to lose weight because weight can mean water, muscle, fat. We want to specifically lose just fat because if you end up losing muscle is going to be something that's going to be really important. And I'm going to go into that in part 2. Now, with that, what tends to happen is so many dads make this mistake with their health and fitness. And that's going from 0 to 100 really fast. Right? Maybe you've tried keto, carnivore, low carb, any other kind of diet out there. And sure, maybe you lose 20 pounds in 30 days. But do you still have that 20 pounds off in the next 5 years? In the next 10 years? Maybe you probably end up gaining the 20 pounds back a couple months later. That's not really a permanent solution, right? So instead, what we want to do is build things up brick by brick so that you have the correct habits to make whatever changes you're making permanent. Think about it like this. You wouldn't say I love you the first time you meet a woman, right? That'd be kind of creepy. Also, let's say you spend a week with this woman, right? You wouldn't say I want to marry you right away. That would be even creepier, right? So if love itself, if let's say the marriage that you have and how solid that it is, it's taken time, it's taken years, months to form, then we want to treat the same principles to our health and fitness, right? We can't expect for fat to be off permanently after losing it in a month, right? We can't expect to say, you know what, I don't need to work on my health anymore because all of a sudden after 2 weeks you've been consistent. No. The reason why so many guys, so many dads end up in this yo-yo back and forth of losing and gaining weight is because they treat it like a quick fix instead of a permanent solution. So back to Daniel. If you wanted to get healthier, the two first things that you wanted to work on is protein and veggies. So you should always shoot for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, I usually take your goal weight. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds now, but you want to weigh 170, right? Just shoot for 170 grams of protein every single day. Increase that so that you hit that. Second, greens, right? Make sure you're getting enough veggies. I always shoot for 5 fistfuls of veggies every single day. That can be equivalent to almost 5 cups, right? So whether that's spring mix, something like this, leafy greens, green beans, etc., that makes it super easy in order to make sure that 1, not only you're staying full, but 2, you are building the right habits when it comes to being healthier. And those things are key when it comes to 1, not only losing fat, but also 2, making sure that you stay full throughout the process of weight loss.
Now, the goal would end up to getting to a point where majority of the foods that Daniel's eating on a daily basis are whole foods, right? Foods without an ingredient list, and also sticking to certain portions. For example, having breakfast every single day so that you start off on a good note. For lunch, you have just a quick salad, something that's easy on the go, something that's light and will help you stay energized throughout the day. And then lastly, for dinner, right, you still have a great source of protein, whether that's some sort of lean beef, some steak, mixed veggies with some rice, some carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are good for you, by the way. And, you know, something simple, whether it's an olive oil or a sauce for whatever your veggies or meat are. And a couple snacks that you can have throughout the day are 2 scoops of protein so that you hit your protein goal. All right. A couple cups of berries, some fruits, an apple, banana, so that, again, you're still staying full throughout the day. You have energy. And also for your workouts, you are locked in. So this is what the goal of the nutrition should look like. Now, when we apply these, a couple things that we're really looking for, or benchmarks, all right? Ideally, sustainable weight loss is around 1 to 2% every single week, or simply put, that's around 1 to 2 pounds per week. All right, you want to be consistently dropping that, and if not, then you need to really look at the nutrition that you're eating, because the biggest thing here, something that I always tell my clients, is your food should be used for your weight loss, for your fat, and your workout should be used for building muscle, for building power, for building up your aerobic capacity, like your cardiovascular, etc. So those are all really important. Now, when we talk about your weight loss as well, it's also important to look at non-scale wins, right? How are your clothes feeling? Are you taking measurements around your body? How's your energy feeling? Take progress photos. Those are all super important. And what's most important of all is making sure you have accountability. See, this is usually the biggest mistake that so many guys make, is that they don't have accountability. Now, when you look at accountability, what tends to happen is that guys say, oh, you know what, I can just do it on my own. I can kind of figure it out. But what ends up happening is maybe you're consistent for a couple of weeks, but then you're off track. Or maybe you're consistent for a couple of months, but then, you know, you go on vacation, life gets in the way, and then all of a sudden you're off track again, right? The reason why, because 1, you probably didn't have a structured plan, like having the right progressions above with your nutrition, but 2, accountability in terms of having somebody or a team around you, and whether it's a coach or maybe a group of men around you that hold you accountable. This is so important, because if you look at the same principles, right, accountability is why you're successful in marriage. Accountability is why you're successful in your work. So you want to use the same principles there. let's quickly take example for your wife, right? My wife holds me accountable all the time. She reminds me when I miss things. At the same time, she's a big reason why I'm always striving to be better and better every single day. Same thing goes at work. Secondly, right? I have my boss that holds me accountable. I have coworkers holding me accountable. I have my own deadlines holding me accountable. And also, I want people to provide for my family. So that also holds me accountable. And what happens is when we treat our health and fitness differently, right? That's why guys are always yo-yoing up and down and up and down. You never actually hit your goal. And yeah, maybe again, you might lose 20 pounds, but you end up gaining it back a year later because you haven't actually learned the right habits. And you don't have accountability throughout the process. So that's why when we talk about sustainable weight loss and making this permanent, these are all so important pieces. Now, part two is the workouts. And from everything that I've seen, Daniel actually goes to the gym. All right. He enjoys going there and also enjoys playing basketball. This is why power is so important. Okay. So if you want to be able to live a long life, you want to be able to still enjoy your favorite sports activities even when you're older, it's so important to be in the gym. Unlike doing fitness classes for like Orange Theory or just doing like videos or home workout videos from home. Because if we want to maximize the amount of muscle that we have, you need to be in the gym to have and be as efficient when we talk about building muscle. Now, just looking at Daniel, he's probably in a good place to be able to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Now, this is one example of what it would look like or how I would structure that. So I would do 3 workouts of 30 minutes. So quick, full body workouts. All right. And an easy way to structure them is just to choose 3 upper body, 3 lower body exercises. Super simple. For example, here you can do leg press, incline bench press, dumbbell lunges, shoulder press, hamstring curls, and bicep curls. Now, although 6 exercises may seem like a lot, what you can do to make sure that they're more efficient is superset them. So after you do a set of leg press, go right into incline bench press and do them back to back. All right. So if not, incline bench press, usually if you need to move a lot, then bring the dumbbells over to you. Do another one instead. All right. Do like a back exercise where you're doing dumbbell rows, right? That's going to be super important. Again, you can superset them. Do dumbbell lunges and shoulder press. All right. Do hamstring curls and bicep curls, right? Do them back to back. So that's just a quick example. And that's actually going to allow Daniel to be as efficient as possible throughout the whole process so that he's in and out of the gym and also he can maximize the progress. Now, an easy way to progress it is that when you talk about workouts, each week, just go up 1 rep or up in weight. All right. So if you're at, let's say, week 1, you're at 35 pounds and you're doing 15 reps, right? Try to go week 2, go up to 40 pounds and do 10 reps. All right. Now, if 10 reps seems hard already, then week 3, go up to 11 reps, right? Until you hit kind of like that 12 to 15 rep range, and then go up in weight again and do that continuously each week. And that will allow you to get progress while you're already losing fat. Now, section 3 is power. And this is really important because power is what allows you to be independent when you're older. It's how fast can you move a weight? All right. What ends up happening is that if you've ever seen elderly individuals, maybe even your own parents as they get older, right? They're not able to do a lot of the things they used to. Or also tripping is a big hazard. And the reason why tripping is a big hazard isn't really because of their balance. It's because they can't get their feet out fast enough. And that's really why power is so important. All right. Power is how fast can you move a weight? How fast can you get your leg out? So that's why, because Daniel here enjoys a lot of like basketball, stuff like that, shooting around, right? You still want to be able to do that into your 60s and beyond, right? You still want to be agile and still enjoy doing that. So that's why power is so important. And you can do it as simply as whether it's pogo hops, right? Just standing in place, or you can also just do box jumps or even squat down faster. So for example, if you squat down, just explode up faster and do less reps. All right. So the way that I would incorporate that into everything is as easy as this. All right. Warm up first. Make sure you get a good 5-minute warm up. Next, go into some power movements like pogo hops, box jumps. And then the rest of the workout, right? Focus on these three things. And maybe that might add an extra 5 minutes to everything. But now your workout is 35 minutes. And really, everybody has 35 minutes. You do that 3 times a week. Everybody has time for 3 times a week for 35 minutes.
So that's a full plan of how Daniel, the best husband in the world, would get healthy. All right, you start off with fat loss. You work on building habits up brick by brick. All right, you don't go from 0 to 100. All right. Secondly, you work on building muscle. Right, muscle is the fountain of youth. It helps you build longevity. And then lastly, build power, because power is what allows you to be independent. It's what allows you to stay agile and enjoy your favorite sports or activities, stuff like that. And when we talk about that progress, make sure that you're progressing in a healthy way. You're not going too fast, right? Losing 1 to 2% of your body weight every single week. And lastly, make sure that you do find accountability, right? Whether that's a coach or a group of people. And that is how Daniel, the best husband in the world, Pav husband, can go from out of shape to being healthy for his family. So if you're a dad and you've thought about getting back in shape, you thought about getting healthy, take action right now, because not only does your family need you, but the world needs you. All right, you are passing on so many important values and beliefs to this world, and it's important for you to live a long life. So share down below, comment what's been your biggest takeaway, and would love this video to get a minimum of 20 likes, so make sure you smash the like button. And if there's any other influencer, there's any other person on social media that you want me to do, write out a plan for them, then comment their name down below. All right, see you in the next one. Peace.